Welcome to today's session. Let's start off with our session for today. I hope everyone can hear me, guys. Can you quickly type a yes in the chat window if you can hear me? Let me see if everyone can hear me. Yes. Type in the chat window yes if you can hear me. If you cannot hear me, no. Quickly, before we start, let me see if you can all hear me. All right. People, we are 13, but I can only see 3 yes. Okay, there's one student, 1BM, 5VK, the one that is using the password is his name. And Hawaii Y5. Why are you guys unmuting yourself? Who gave you permission to unmute yourself? People, mute yourself now. If you don't do that, I'm going to remove you quick. I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. Just mute yourself. Else I'm going to remove you from my class. Okay, let's start off with our lesson. Let's see, most of you guys can hear me. Okay, so we have got 40 minutes for this session, but if it ends in the middle or halfway, I'm going to request the new meeting details, like a password and ID, and then I'll put it on the group so you guys, you have to join again, and then we finish off our session, okay? So, so today we are going to look at mail merge. What is mail merge? How to create mail merge? Yeah, so first we are going to define or to look at what is mail merge, yeah? And after that, we are going to do we are going to do it practically, like how to create a mail merge, yeah? Okay, so let me quickly share my screen or my document here, my presentation to you. Okay, you guys, you know the procedures. Okay, if you have got a question, please, you may write in the chat window, or you can raise up your hand. Then I can allow you to speak or to ask your question, yeah? Okay, so we're going to start off by defining what is mail merge. So we said mail merge is a tool that simplifies the creation of a set of documents that are similar but contain unique and variable data elements. Very important statement. So we are saying it's a tool. So mail merge is a tool that simplifies the creation of documents, right? That are similar but contain what? Unique and variable element. So you have got a document as a letter and you are addressing to a number of people. So this letter, the content of the letter is the same, but what differ or what is unique about it is the variables and the elements of each of those individuals where you are sending the letter or the document to. Okay, so the content of the letter is the same, but what differ is the recipient's details, like where the letter is going, details. All right. So this accomplished by linking a database that contains data elements to a document. Okay. So with MailMatch, before we move on to the next sentence or statement, let me give you a typical example just for you to understand or to have a bit of a background on what MailMatch is. Okay, so let's say, for instance, if you guys, you're first years, right? And you get into a college, the first thing that you did to get to the college is you applied. You submitted in your application form, okay? So your application form contained a number of things that you there's some information that you provided, like your name, the course that you want to do, the cell phone numbers, email address, the street address, and so forth and so on, okay? And mind you, about, maybe let's say if you are 200 students in the IT department, I mean, the first years are IT students. Let's say you're 200. So once you're done, you submit in your application. The administration department will respond or have responded to your application by sending you a letter, whether you're admitted or not. Okay. Now imagine sending that acknowledgement letter to people, to 200 students. So this requires the admin people to write 200 letters, like write the first letter, and then they put it in the, let's say, in the envelope, and then they put all the details, all your details, and they email it to you, and they mail it to you. They go to the second student, they do the same. They go to the third student, they go to the 10th student. So they have the same letter, but with different details. So this is time consuming, and it also requires resources. Okay, so now to do that in a shorter period of time and less effort, so that's where the MailMatch comes in. So what you do with MailMatch is you have got the same letter. Let's say you're addressing to all first year students, and then at one of the elements that, or field that you should, that maybe you can include in the letter is maybe the admission or not admitted. So, but the content of the letter remains the same. What differ is just the details. Like each and everyone will have the same letter, but with different details, because we have got different names. So we definitely, we have got different student numbers. Our PO books are also different, and so forth and so on. Okay, but the content of the letter remains the same. All right. So this is where MailMatch is used. Like you have got the same one letter, and then this letter is actually you create a letter where you attach different people's details at the same time, rather than writing an individual letter to each and every student. Okay, so what you do is you just have your your contact details, because the college will record all your details, maybe in the database, or they create a table for that matter, either using Microsoft Word or Excel, or they just can create a database where they will capture all your contact details, I mean all your details as an applicant. Okay, so that's where the MailMatch comes in. Okay, so what you need for you to create an email, a MailMatch, you need what you need a letter, I mean the document that you are sending to people, and you need their contact details, like a table that contains all the people's contact details. Okay, so now this paragraph or this sentence, the second one says, this is accomplished by linking a database that contains those elements to a document. Okay, so you have got a document that contains a separate document on its own that contains details of different people, individual students, let's say in this case, the students. Okay, so you got a database that keeps students' records or details that they have applied. And then you create a letter to what? That you're going to address to each and every student. So because you have to respond to the application. So you say this is a letter accomplished by linking a database that contains those data elements to a document, which contain merge fields where that unique data will be populated. Right, moving on, guys. We said mail merge saves you time and effort by doing what? So we're saying mail merge saves time and effort by automating the process of entering standardized pieces of data, such as names, addresses, into a document. This is what I've said, guys, earlier. That so with mail merge, it saves you time by automating. So all this is done automatically. Okay, this process of entering names, the pieces of what of data such as your names, your addresses into the document or into this letter that I'm addressing to you. So all this is done automatically. Okay. So this is actually okay. People are still joining, guys. Was just admitting them. Okay, now we said, for example, so mail merge saves you time. Okay, that's what we said. For example, you could link a form letter to a group of contacts in Outlook, right? Because in Outlook, you save, you've got different contact details of different people. And let's say in your Outlook contacts. So you can create a letter and then you just address it to the people, or you could just merge the details with the letter that you're writing or that you've written. Okay. Moving on with the name, maybe you say this letter says might have a merge field, each contacts, and yeah. So this is basically the same thing as we've said. So this, let's look at the anatomy of mail merge. Mail merge consists of two main parts: the document and the data source. So this is very important. So if I ask you in the test, in the exam, like what are the things needed for mail merge? You need the document and the data source. Okay, also referred to as database. Okay, like where you are keeping or where you have saved your contact details that you want to merge with this letter. All right. So let's move on. Right. So people, I think before we go to the practical part, let me just quickly unmute you and maybe you can raise up your question. So, but make sure that your background is not disturbing us. Whatever you're playing in the background, whether it's music or your friends, your family members, there with some few I can't hear anything. Lloyd. Okay. Guys, you've got time. You're free to ask. Before I move on to the practical part. Is there anyone with a question on mail merge?
No.
Okay, it seems that everything is clear. let's jump over to, okay, yeah, let's go and do, and create a mail image, yeah? Right, people can see the letter here. This letter that I've displayed here, can you all see it? Can you all see the letter? IBS? Can you type yes for me if you can see the letter? Right. So this is the letter that we are sending to certain individuals, okay? So we have got one letter, but we don't want to write this letter every time. Like, so the content of the letter is the same, okay? So what is going to be different is maybe what is it? The postal address of each and every person, and whether it's Mr. or Mrs. or Doctor or Professor. Okay. And maybe here we are going to write down the what? Okay. And then here we have got the what? The address. We've got address 1. And here we are going to have, this is address 2. Okay. So these are going to be replaced by the actual data here. So we're going to have our PO box. I mean the PO box for, we have got a table that contains this information, these details. Yeah, address 1, address 2, and this is the different what salutation, like whether the person is a Mr. or Mrs., or a doctor or a professor. And then here we will have. Okay, let me quickly show you the table. The table that contains this information or these details, contact details for all these people. Nekonya, you have got a question? Let me just quickly unmute you. Yes.
Say I can't see anything.
You cannot see anything?
I can't see anything.
Is it only you or
no.
everyone? Is it you or?
I can see a lot of people can't see anything, say.
You can see, a lot of people cannot see. How is that possible? How can you see? Oh, okay.
Just
okay, let me quickly share it again. Let me share the letter quickly.
Mm.
I guess now everyone can see it. Can see the letter, yeah? Akunya, can you see the letter now?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So this is what I was talking about. We have got address 1 here.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, mute yourself quickly. So we have got address 1. So these are just placeholders, but once we match this letter with the contact details of all the people, then these are fields, they are going to be replaced by actual information, okay? Like we have got address 1 and address 2 here, okay? So the dates remain the same, it's fine. And when it comes to the salutation here, we have got dear, we have got Mr. So if the person is, the title is Mr., then this Mr. is going to be replaced by, yeah, so here we just put the title. So what you're going to put here is the title, okay? And then we have the second one is the first name, okay? And then last name, right? I just want to make it a bit, you don't need to put in these bracket, I mean, these signs here, but I'm just putting them so that each of these field can on their own, like this, put a space in between, yeah? In between here, just for spaces, yeah? So these are the fields that you're going to replace with information in the table. So we have got address 1 there, and then address 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So let me quickly share the table so that you can see. Okay, so this is the table that we are going to use, or that contains details for different people. Now, let's write chat. Write in the chat window if you can see this table before I continue. Write a yes, type a yes. Type yes in the chat window. All right, okay. So this is the table. Remember, we've got the title here. So these are the different field names. So we've got title, first name, a surname, address 1, and what? And address 2. Okay, so these are the different placeholders. So, but now when you match this table with the letter and you save or you preview, you save your letter, you match letter, it's going to replace title field with the actual information here. Okay, like whether that person is a Mr. or Mrs. And then you go to the first name as well. So instead of a first name, of displaying the field name first, the first name as field, you put, it's going, the name Mary is going to be put or be placed in that place. Okay, Robert, George, Sheila, and so forth and so on. Now, when it comes to surname field, Collins, Reynolds, Stephens, and so forth and so on. Same applies here. So in address one field, this is the what? The PO box that is going to be placed there. And then you go to address number 2, which is this. So instead of that address 2 field name, this actual name is going to be inserted there in that place. Okay. Hilma. Okay, so people, I'm going to do this. We have got few minutes left, just few minutes, 3 minutes for a session to end. So let me just quickly end this session now, and then I'll request a new meeting ID and the password, and then you log in so that we can finish, we come back and then finish off with the practical. Okay, so we're going to merge these details with the letter that I just showed you. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and then we'll continue in 2 minutes time. So I'll request new meeting details and then I'll send to the WhatsApp group. Quickly go to your WhatsApp group and log in to the mode, to the Zoom again. I'll send the details soon.